Thank you for joining us for Live Paranormal Radio. From the paranormal to the unexplained, it all happens here. It all happens here. Looking to enhance your radio experience? Participate in our live video chat 24/7 with our Live Paranormal Radio show hosts and other like-minded people. LiveParanormal.com, the only interactive social chat room supported by Full Interaction Media. Stop by now and join the fun. Stop by now and join the fun.
Hello, everybody. It's Niki ParaNormal, and you are listening to Paranormal Spotlight Radio. And it's a wonderful day here in Live Paranormal, lots of awesome shows. And, I just can't help but love all that Live Paranormal has to offer. For those of you who are listening but are not in our interactive chat room, head on over to LiveParanormal.com. You can create a little login there, and you can join us in the like-minded individuals, cameras, the whole nine. It's just endless, all the awesome stuff you can find out about. Looks like Rob has joined me on air. Hello, Rob.
No wonderful introduction.
But sorry, the grand, wonderful, fantastical, amazing, and all other good adjectives. Rob, was that okay?
Yeah, it's getting better.
Okay,
as you know,
I'm sorry.
For our listeners, they know that you've kind of fallen off when it comes to my introduction, and
there aren't enough adjectives that I could actually spit out during the show and still have content other than just that.
The bottom line was, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago you just said, and now let's bring on Rob. Like, it was like you didn't even want me to come on. And then last week you used the word lovely. I was like, you got to step your game up. I didn't like the introduction 2 weeks ago, and then last week you said I was lovely. And, as much as I'd like to say that, it's probably
what is wrong with lovely? I'm sorry. Incredibly masculine, manly, and, all that in a bag of chips, Rob. All
right, we'll go with that.
Okay. Sufficient.
That is true. So today, actually tonight, I guess the day has gone by, we have Chip Coffey. And I'm excited to have Chip Coffey on. He's a friend of mine. And Chip will be appearing at the Paranormal SuperCon, which is in 2.5 weeks. And it's always nice to see Chip Coffey. And we have Chip Coffey with us right now. Chip, you're there.
No, I'm not here. I'm here.
I knew you were going to say no. I guess we have to put this guy on hold and try to find Chip Coffey.
Yeah, you have to go find that poor guy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, I think. It's been a nice night here on the East Coast. So, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm here with you. What else could I want?
You know what, really, what is a better way to spend 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night than on the phone or on the radio with me? I think there's really not much.
Let me answer that question for you. I could be lying on my couch right now with my crush, my celebrity crush, Mariska Hargitay from Law & Order SVU. But I'm here with you. So there.
Beautiful.
I will take it. We were just discussing my introduction. My co-host, allowed to do the introduction, has been giving me what I consider subpar introductions the past 2 episodes.
Wow!
And, so I like, you know what? I don't know what happened, but so 2 weeks ago she really just was like, hey, let's bring on that Rob guy, and I found that to be kind of it sets the tone for the rest of the show. When you're brought on.
Well, Niki, you know what we should do? We should just take over the show, commandeer the show, have a mutiny, and just do the show without some guy named Rob whatever.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
He would be on board for that, because sometimes I feel like it's pulling teeth, to get Rob excited. And, his introduction for me would be like, here's that chick that, annoys me and carries the bags.
Which should be semi-accurate,
depending on the day or the night.
Wow, this is kind of getting harsh on the air. I'm like,
we have an episode that was really, it was brutal. It was funny after the fact.
I was hurt by the introduction, and it set the tone for the rest of the interview. But we got a good introduction in today, and that was what we were talking about previous to bringing you on. So I figured I would do the Chip Coffey introduction because I consider you a good friend of mine, and it's every time I get to talk to you, it's fun. I hang up or get off air and I have a smile on my face. So it's great to have you on tonight.
Aw, isn't that just so sweet that I can do that for you?
Oh, it is.
Wait a minute. I think I'm feeling emotional right now. Yep. Wait. Nope. It's gas. Nope. It's gas. I'm good.
Gotcha. It's just one of two things. Huh? So we were talking.
There's just a little passing gas,
You're probably not the first person that has me and passing gas as.
Well, I usually blame it on the dog. They're so easy to blame things on.
It is. Or they are, I should say.
This is how my conversations with Rob Szarek go all the time. Just so you know, we'll get on the phone, and this is kind of the timbre of our conversation whenever we talk on the telephone.
It's
kind
true.
of scary, isn't it?
The fun part is I'll be like, hey, I need to talk to you for 2 minutes, and then half hour goes by, and I forget to even talk about what we talked about. I needed to talk to you for those 2 minutes for. So
I know.
Yeah, that's the best part of our conversations. But the one good thing that I was mentioning earlier, amongst many good things, I guess the thing that's most relevant in my mind is the Paranormal Supercon, which you and Greta, which will be coming to in exactly it's about 2.5 weeks now, so it's approaching fast. It seemed like
it is. It's getting close. Actually, we should tell.
I was always like, go ahead, sorry.
We should tell people who Greta is. Greta is my BFF and my travel assistant. A lot of people who see me at events and things know who Greta is because Greta's kind of like my right-hand person, and she's with me a lot. I don't know if I'm her shadow or she's my shadow or she's my I don't know, my sidekick. I don't know what the appropriate word for Greta is. She's my girl, and we hang out a lot together, so people see Greta hanging out with me a lot at events and conventions and things like that. So, yes, Greta will be in Erie, Pennsylvania on the 24th and the 25th of July, and we're going to have a good time in Erie.
We should, and we will.
I understand the event this year is clothing optional. Is that correct?
It is. It's clothing optional, and really anything goes. It's the most bizarre, the most bang for your buck for American Supercon.
Oh my!
I am going to be wearing a thong and a tiara, just nothing else.
Nice.
But what about the scarf?
Oh God! Always, yeah. I mean, let's don't forget that. That's a given.
Well, so as long as it all ties in together, it'll work out well.
Well, I don't want to get too matchy though, so
that's true.
I might surprise you.
Oh my!
Cool. So people can look forward.
Niki's like, I'm rethinking my attendance at this point in time.
You stole my costume idea, so now I'm going to be having to come up with a new one.
You guys can be twinsies. You could be the.
We could be twinsies.
Yeah.
I'll bring you a scarf.
Well, actually, I already have my Chip Coffey scarf, and I carry it at all times, and it's fabulous. In fact, for those who have their camera on in the chat, they can see my Chip Coffey scarf. It is always here, or I use it as a belt as well, or I have it right here at all times. It's part of me.
You have to look at my new skull scarves. I've got skull scarves that I just added to my website. They come in black and gray and red. So the skull scarves are really cool. We'll have to hook you up with a skull scarf.
Yeah, well, I have one actually. I have a black skull scarf that I bought from you years ago.
Really?
I have a black.
I've got some different ones though. I've got some different ones. These are long skull scarves. So I'll hook you up, Niki, when I see you.
I could make a dress and oh my, this could be awesome. I love skulls, Actually, a Skull page. I have a homage to Skull page and I just love my Chip Coffey scarf. My kids actually know where to get things because it's on my purse. It's like an identifier. My kids go, "Oh, Mommy's purse right there." Yep, right here. If it's not on me, it's on my purse.
Aww.
Well, I do not have my Chip Coffey scarf on my purse, unfortunately.
You don't?
But I did get a Chip Coffey, a Skull scarf. I think about 2 years ago at Scarefest. He actually was out of them, and he gave me the one around his neck. The funny story is there was a fan there who offered me $100 for that scarf, and I regret not selling it.
Now Rob no longer has it. No, I'm kidding.
I regret not selling it. Wait till I see you. I'm going to conduct the ultimate bris on you, Rob Zara.
Right. I'm just kidding. I would not sell it. I was like, I've got it right here, not on my purse, but around my
yeah. So he says, right? So he says, yeah.
I know it's around his
He's got to hang around his. He's got to hang around his purse.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
It's around my pole lamp.
Well, I was going to say something really R-rated, but I'm just going to avoid that. I'm going to avoid that.
I thought it, I think.
So moving back to Live Paranormal SuperCon, let's just plug the heck out of that. Live Paranormal SuperCon, Erie, Pennsylvania, July 24th or 25th. All the cool kids are going to be there, and if you're not there, then I guess you're not a cool kid. So we're going to be there, and we are the cool kids, I guess.
We think
you can buy all of your Chip Coffey merchandise at the Paranormal SuperCon. You can attend the Chip Coffey Gallery. And
yes, we're going to talk to some dead people, do some psychic readings. We're going to have a good time. And, Erie was fun last year. We had a good time when we were in Erie. We're going to do some paranormal investigating. There's a really cool location right there on site that we're going to do some investigating at. And, we're just fun people to hang out with. And people kind of, I think, that haven't been to events wonder, am I going to get to meet these people person to person, face to face? Am I going to get to kind of hang out with them for a few minutes and chat them up a little bit? And the answer to that is yes. Everybody's going to be there welcoming, meeting, and greeting and hang out with fans. So, yeah, it's a really cool event where you get a chance to kind of get up close and personal, not in a weird sort of way, but up close and personal with all the people from the paranormal world.
Yep. It's my favorite. Maybe I'm biased. Probably, but it is totally my favorite.
It would be weird if I was like, yeah, Paranormal SuperCon, it's okay. That wouldn't be the greatest promotion you could give. But, we are going to do a little bit of investigating at the Hemingway Ballroom on Friday night with Chip. And I believe Chip walked through there last year and, gave it the thumbs up. And we actually, Niki, myself, and a group from Erie did an investigation out there. And I mentioned this to you when we were in Baltimore after, sitting through your presentation. You were talking about the Murphys. And we when we went to the Hemingway Ballroom, we kept saying, we're coming back here with Chip Coffey, and we are, doing an investigation here, and we were getting Murphy on the different devices, and I thought that was really coincidental when you were telling that story in Baltimore about all the Murphy hits we were getting when we were at the Hemingway Ballroom.
That's crazy.
Well, yeah, the Murphy family, when I was a kid, I lived in a haunted house in upstate New York, and the family that had lived in the house before us was an old Irish immigrant family, and their name was Murphy, and I'm still pretty sure that they hang out with me sometimes, even today. But yeah, we lived in a pretty active house there. They were pretty active in the house that we lived in when I was 10 to 14 years old in a little town called Elmira, New York, and Murphy was their name. They were pretty cool to, nothing bad happened in the house. It was all kind of playful, fun, mischievous sometimes kind of things that they did, but nothing bad or malicious. It was all kind of, pun intended, good-spirited fun.
Well, I am hoping for some sort of a Murphy. So if we can get some kind of Murphy contact at the Hemingway Ballroom, because that'd be fantastic to kind of solidify what we had gotten back in December. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the VIP meet and greet. I'm looking forward to the expo, and people will be able to come in with a little question and answer with Chip as well. on Saturday, and then stay for the gallery. And it's a fun-filled 2 days. And
yes.
I think we have 38 different speakers between the 2 days. So.
Wow, that's a lot of people that you get an opportunity to meet. That's really cool.
Oh yeah,
it is. We have over 60 featured guests and vendors, almost 70, and then we have 38 speakers. So, we urge people to bring pen and paper and bring their cameras if they want. And there's a lot to do. Get pictures taken, and obviously sitting on the lectures. That's the part that I find the most rewarding. I think out of what I offer. Is people who come in and have their questions answered, or maybe feel a little bit better after they have listened to some of the lectures, and I'm happy to put it on, and I think we have a good lineup that starts at 6:00 on Friday and doesn't stop until 9:00 on Saturday. Though people can sleep, though I shouldn't say it doesn't stop, but
if they
want to,
can.
Yeah.
If they want to.
I don't know how much sleeping I'll be doing over the weekends. We have 2 investigations. We're going to announce a 3rd one on Sunday, and so I won't even be in contact with anybody the week after SuperCon. So,
so people are probably wondering right now, how do I get tickets for this lovely live paranormal SuperCon? Why don't you, Rob Szarek, tell them the address on the internet where they can go and look for tickets for the live paranormal SuperCon, July 24th and 25th in Erie, Pennsylvania? Well,
there's no better plug than I think Chip is showing me up when it comes to plugging the SuperCon.
I think so. He scored.
He's just not good. Yeah, it's www.paranormalsupercon.com, or you can go to the LiveParanormal.com website and click the link right on the homepage, and every page. We make sure to plaster on every page of Live Paranormal. But ParanormalSuperCon.com, you can order your tickets for the VIP party, the expo, for Chip's Gallery, and all of the investigations. You can, read about all of our great lectures and guests and vendors right on ParanormalSuperCon.com.
And there you have it.
So that's it. And we'll probably plug it one more time before we end the show too. I've got a hunch. I'll probably plug that one more time. So,
I would predict that that's going to happen.
There you have it. An on-air prediction from Psychic Mediumship Coffey that we will talk about Paranormal SuperCon one more time. So, Chip, my question to you is: look, I know you're extremely busy all the time. Every time I call you or text you or send you a Facebook message, you have some kind of wonderful, lavish story from somewhere you've just come from or going to or flying here or there and traveling.
Yeah, I'm on the road a lot.
Meeting this person or that person. And it's such an extravagant life, and I'm extremely jealous. But what have you been up to, and do you have anything coming up that you might want to tell us about? Or
other than the Paranormal SuperCon 2015 in Erie, Pennsylvania, on July 24th and 25th, my prediction came true. I'm doing an event in Canada, in Nova Scotia in August. I'm doing the Roswell Ghost Tour here in Roswell, Georgia, not Roswell, New Mexico, Roswell, Georgia, with my friends Diana and Joe Avena. We're doing a special event here in August, actually the day after my birthday in August. I'm doing several events with Amy Bruni from Ghost Hunters, doing some events with her new Strange Escapes group. I'm doing an event at the Mount Washington Hotel in New Hampshire, which is a lot of fun. And then we're going to be doing an event on Mackinac Island in Michigan. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, I'm going to be at Scarefest in Lexington. We see each other usually every year at Scarefest. Amy's also doing an event in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I forgot about that one. One event that I'm kind of excited about to do, we did one last year. I'm doing this with Chad Morin's Ghost Hunt Events Company, and it's an event where we're going to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, to the Titanic Museum. And that was a fun event last year. Then the other two that I've got on my calendar, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm doing the Paracon in Mahnomen, Minnesota at the Shooting Star Casino, and I'm doing an event in Tombstone. All that's on my website. People can go look at that. That's, rather than me giving you any more of a laundry list, that's on my website on chipcoffey.com. And people can go, that's kind of like a really good launch point for anything to do with who I am. You can find my links to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and blah, 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 blah. They're all on there. So that's the best place. Plus my coffee shop. Get it? COFFEY shop. There's a link on there to my coffee shop where you can get scarves and books and T-shirts and coffee mugs and all sorts of good stuff. So that's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
What about your tour? Are you touring later on in the year? Do you have that set yet?
I don't have a tour set up. You know, the reason that I really haven't, usually I'll do my Coffee Talk tour, which is my own tour, one in the spring and one in the fall, and I've sort of postponed doing anything in the fall because, and I can't talk a lot about this, but I can kind of preview it a little bit, or, sorry to use this word, but tease it a little bit. I've got a couple of things television-wise coming up. People ask me a lot, when are you going to come back and do some television? I actually have a signed contract to do some TV work in the fall, and I'm working on, right now my agent and I are working on negotiating a contract for a second production that is cable television, that is regular, like a cable channel on television. And those two things are underway. And next week, I'm actually going to be in New York City filming a new web series that I'm doing. I, again, can't talk a lot about it. I'll be announcing it really soon. That one I'll be announcing pretty soon. But I'm doing a new web series that it's going to show a different side of me. It's going to be a lot of, people see me on television a lot, kind of in work mode, kind of being serious and things. And I want people to know that I have a crazy sense of humor. I can drop a swear word at the, all the time. I don't have a foul mouth, but I'm the son of an Irish sailor, so that kind of explains it. But the web series is going to be kind of fun, a little bit ghost-oriented, but not completely ghost-oriented. I'll announce it soon, but we're going to have a good time in New York filming some episodes with several of my celebrity friends are coming in to film some episodes with me, so we should have a really good time doing that next week in New York.
Well, that's a definite tease right there. I can't wait to find out more about that. And hopefully you'll let us know soon as you can, because...
well, let me just tell you that let me tease some of my guests, and you guys are going to have to Google a little bit on this. But I'm going to give you some words about who some of my guests on that show are going to be, okay? You ready for these? You ready for these hints about who's going to be with me on the show without me giving away names? Here's some names. People Magazine's Sexiest Teacher of the Year. That's one thing. Let's talk about the Brady Bunch Fake Jan. Let's talk about Meet the Fockers. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
So those are just three little hints about three of the people that are going to be with me on my show.
The third one I'm at a loss for. I think that was it was a good hint, but nothing that gave anything away. So.
Well, all right, you ready? Shall I give you an even better hint?
I'll take a better one because I can't figure out how to make it.
There's a new TV show, and I don't know if you've seen it or not. I think it's on ABC Family. It's called The Fosters. That's your second hint.
Okay.
Oh, I don't watch TV anymore.
Now we have a couple of things at Google. But,
yeah, it's Google.
All right,
Google.
Meet the Fockers and The Fosters. What do those two things have in common? And then you might be able to figure out who's going to hang out with me while I'm in New York. Yay.
That's awesome.
I think the key is to find out where in New York go and then be in the background somewhere, like a background actor. Like, oh, look.
Well, I will say this. I love going to New York. New York is one of my favorite cities. I always thought I wanted to move to New York City when I was a lot younger. But now I like having my big backyard here in the Atlanta suburbs. I like having my backyard for the dogs and space and room, and not living in an apartment or something like that in New York that's cramped cramped space in New York because everything is so blasted expensive in New York.
I think there's a large percent of people when they're younger who want to move to New York City. I always want to live in New York City, but now I kind of like
do too, yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. I shouldn't say who hasn't because I'm sure there are a lot of people, but to me it seems like an obvious choice when you're at your prime.
Oh, when I was in my 20s, I thought of nothing more than I wanted to, once I got out of college, I was very much into the theater world and acting and doing some work in the entertainment arena. And I wanted to, go to New York and set Broadway and the TV and film industry on fire. But, life didn't work out that way. And so now I'm doing some TV work and doing some work in the entertainment and TV and internet and film industry. And I'm doing it from right here in my little home in Atlanta.
Yeah, it happened in your 30s, not in your 20s, right?
Yeah, you might better get better at math. My birthday's coming up. I've got a birthday in about 6 weeks. So yeah, do you know how old I'm going to be? Shall I reveal how old I'm going to be in 6 weeks? Let's just do
21.
this. I'm going to be the big 6'1".
Wow, that's shown. You don't
61 years old. People say that age is just a number. Some days I feel like I'm 16, and sometimes I feel like I'm 161. Let me tell you that.
I'm having one of those days myself. And I know Rob has had those days.
I've had that year.
Yeah.
I think I'll be 38, but I've definitely felt this year like I was 83.
Was it the broken hip, Rob?
Yeah, that's any time that you I had a rough year with the broken hip, which is obviously something that's, for an older person, not usually for a younger person, that kind of sets the tone for feeling old, I guess. But
yeah, you haven't had a really good year as far as injuries and things go.
No, but I'm getting better, and I'll be able to stroll right into the Paranormal Supercon like nothing ever happened.
Oh, strolling that is a topic that we should see if Chip is willing to partake in the proper stroll with you.
Right.
Rob is all about strolling.
We were at an event, and I was with Dustin Perry, a real good friend of mine, and we tend to go on, I guess, like tangents of just one topic throughout the whole event. And we were talking about what constitutes strolling compared to strutting, and we were annoying everyone but him and I. So everyone else was rolling their eyes thinking, man, this guy is dumb, but we talked about strolling the entire event. So it was, you had to be there. I think it was funny because obviously over the radio it's not funny and people are probably like confused on what we're even talking about. But wait to SuperCon and we'll present
it for you. We'll model it.
We'll bring back the strolling talk from the past convention that I was hoping you were going to be at, but it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, there were a couple of events that, for varying reasons, I was not able to go to this year, and people were very kind, and they thought, "Oh, are you having some medical difficulties, or is something going on with Cousin Kenny, who people hear me talk about a lot or see me talk about a lot on the internet?" And I mentioned Kenny at events a lot, or one of the dogs or something like that. Nothing was wrong, thank goodness. No big disasters, no big scandal, no big anything like that. It was just, sometimes life gets in the way and you're not able to do the things that you might otherwise want to do. So I did have to bail out on a couple of events, and I apologize to my friends and fans for that. But, hopefully you'll get to see me someplace other than the events that I had to kind of skip out on.
Well, I do have a question for you, which ties into the Paranormal SuperCon. Somebody asked about your gallery readings and what they can what really is a gallery reading. They were unaware of what a Chip Coffey gallery reading might pertain.
Well, a gallery reading, actually what I do at most events is I do a question and answer. And, at most of the events, anybody who's at the event, I like being able to have that be included as part of the ticket price, that people can come to ask me questions about the TV work I've done, about my life, about my beliefs, share their beliefs with me. So it's just a good exchange between people. And that's what we do at the Q&A. And then people are able to stay on if they bought a special ticket to come to the gallery reading. And a gallery reading is basically a group reading where I'm led to pick specific people kind of and I don't like to use the word randomly because I'm led energetically to pick the people that I pick for readings, but for lack of a better word, they're picked randomly out of the audience to get readings. Not everyone, unfortunately, gets a reading, but those people that come usually leave feeling very invigorated and have a good experience there. But I do readings for people that I choose out of the audience, and they either get a psychic reading, they can ask me questions about career or finance or relationships or romance or things like that, or they can ask me to communicate with someone that they're wishing to communicate with who's passed away, a loved one. Tell me who they want to communicate with specifically, and I'll try to reach out to that individual spirit and communicate with that spirit for the person in the audience. So that's kind of like what a gallery reading is. It's kind of like a group reading where people are chosen from the audience to receive readings.
Well, and I have sat through multiple of your presentations, and your question and answer is not what people are expecting. You know, as you mentioned before about your personality, and everyone loves your question and answer. It's the one thing that I take away from every event that I have gone to where you have done the question and answer and I've sat through, is people enjoy it thoroughly. I think it's everyone walks out happy, and your personality shines through in the question and answer, and I think it's my favorite part of any event you're at. So, I think
well, and that's just,
check that out.
I try to be, I try to not. I take my work very seriously when I'm working, and I think that's what people see of me the most on television, or have seen historically of me on television, is I'm kind of really focused and tuning in on what's going on paranormally around me. But, when I'm not working, when I'm not on the clock, I've got a bawdy, crazy, kind of sometimes sarcastic sense of humor, and I just like to enjoy myself and people and laugh and have fun, because the paranormal arena can be so serious and so intense that if you don't break away from that and laugh and have a good time and enjoy yourself, then, wow, it can become kind of heavy. And so that's the reason at those sort of things I laugh and have a good time. And when people come up to my table, I try to be engaging and funny and sociable, and that's who I am. I don't know how to be anybody other than who I am. And if people like that, that's great. If they don't, sorry, but at 61 years old, chances of me changing a whole lot are kind of slim to none. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, I think too the fact that when people have seen you on television, it's more of the formats are always more serious. They're not, they're not as personable as, meeting someone at an event, or, getting to talk to them and find out their personality firsthand compared to what you've seen on TV. So, it's always been my favorite part, and I look forward to it at the SuperCon.
And that's just it. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago in New York State, and part of the event, the majority of the event that was the most fun for me, the parts that were the most fun for me were meeting the fans that came and seeing old friends and people also in the paranormal arena and hanging out with those folks and sharing fun times with them, and hearing what's been happening to them, and just it's the whole enjoying each other's company sort of things, making those fun connections with people that I think is the most enjoyable part of going to an event. You said you really love the lectures, and those are fine. Those are fulfilling in a different sort of way. Excuse me, but it's that whole camaraderie and sharing of fun with the other people that are there that I find the most fun for me. That's the most fun that I have when I go to events.
When it comes to investigating, we've talked about you and investigating, previously, and I think there's so many different techniques and so many different things out there. Since I've even been involved in the paranormal for the past probably 20 years, but when it comes to investigating, I know you don't do much paranormal investigating as you once did, but is there any type of, when you go to an investigation, what do you bring anything to investigate, or you just, walk through and use your abilities, or do you actually, get down to the nitty-gritty and investigate, or you just, there for the atmosphere and watch what other people are doing?
Well, what's really interesting is this. I would never say that I have been the classic paranormal investigator. I identify as being a paranormal investigator because I certainly know how to do it. I certainly know how to use a lot of the different pieces of equipment, and I know how to, conduct a paranormal investigation. Very early on, I learned a lot of the basics from Patty Starr, the owner of Scarefest, and, one of the preeminent women in the paranormal arena. Patty and I have known each other for more than a dozen years, and she taught me all the basic things about paranormal investigating. And, of course, I've learned from others that I've worked with, but Patty gave me the baseline for conducting an official, fingers in the air with, making quotation marks, paranormal investigation. And she trained me really very well to be thorough and serious and attentive to detail, with have that attention to detail. So I'm very grateful that from the get-go, she cracked the whip and said, "Do it right." So I'm very appreciative of that. That being said, I've never been what you would call a classic paranormal investigator. I've done it a lot, and I've got to say, do I enjoy doing paranormal investigating? And I have to say this out loud, and not so much I don't. And the reason for that is I've done it so much that I don't know that I have anything to prove anymore. I'm leaving that to other people that are much more serious about it and into it than I am. I'm already convinced there's an afterlife. I'm already convinced that there's life after death. So there's not any convincing to be done for me. Yeah, it's fun to hear voices come out of an EVP or to have the meters light up or something like that. But like I said, I'm not 25 or 35 years old anymore. I don't like being up till 3 and 4 in the morning, sitting in a dark, dusty room saying, "Can you knock? Can you light up my meter?" No. I want to be in bed. If they want me, they know where I'm at. So do I sit around? Well, usually what I do, I don't like using this term, but I kind of like my psychic and mediumistic abilities are the instrument that I bring with me on most investigations. I see if I can pick up any energy of people, places, or things when I'm out on an investigation. I don't generally. I might bring my flashlights, my mag lights, and see if they can light those up. I have a couple of meters I bring with me sometimes, but I don't bring a lot of equipment with me. This sounds kind of funny, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but I am my own tool. Did I just call myself a tool? I think I did.
I think you did.
It's okay. It's okay though. I mean, if I were a psychic medium, I would be I would definitely bring myself to the investigation and be like, I'm my own tool. I mean, we all have tools, We are tools. We're all tool people.
I am a tool.
Yeah.
I'm a tool too.
But there are lots of people that really enjoy going out and sitting in dark places till all hours of the night, and that just really, that gives them a big thrill. I'm good for a little while. And after that, I'm just kind of like, okay, when it gets to be midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, particularly, if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I want to be in my jammies watching a Law & Order SVU marathon so that I can go to sleep dreaming about Mariska Hargitay.
Well, who wouldn't? It's not like, I don't know anyone who's ever fallen asleep during a paranormal investigation. I don't know about Niki.
I do. I do. Do you know somebody who's fallen asleep during a paranormal investigation?
I sure do.
I have.
Yeah, no, she
Rob
does.
has
She does.
too.
I fell asleep.
I will tell you this. I do not say this too much, but I fell asleep. I dozed off during an investigation on friggin' television. Are you kidding me? It's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there, and we're like waiting for something to happen, and I am fighting everything that's in me, saying, "Don't go to sleep, Chip. Oh my God, don't go to sleep. Do not embarrass yourself on television." So, yeah, I mean, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, my God, there's absolutely nothing happening. And when it's on television, you may sit there. They may roll tape for 2 hours with nothing happening just to get one little blip on the radar, and you're sitting there the whole time going, oh, for God's sake, let some ghost knock or do something. Please let something happen. You know, I'm sitting here, I'm dying here. And then they get that one little knock, and they edit all the rest of it out, you know, but you're sitting there going, oh, this is like pulling teeth.
Well, I may or may not have fallen asleep on one of our public investigations.
Oh, whatever.
Last year.
You totally fell asleep.
I've had people at investigations at events. One of the funniest things that's ever happened to me, it happened once in one of my, either my Q&As or my gallery reading. I had somebody fall asleep and start to snore at one of my coffee talk events, and I thought, wow, I'm really this person's really engaged by what I'm doing here. They're really entertained by me, and you know, I've heard people drift off and kind of go snoring during paranormal investigation. It's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking, child, you know, you're right. You're doing what I want to be doing right now. I want to be lying in my bed, completely horizontal, just snoring away.
There you go.
Especially when you're dealing with staying up to 4 or 5 in the morning, I think. It's only natural.
If it's 4 or 5 in the morning, the only place I want to be is in a bed. At 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, years ago, it might have been, woo-hoo, I'm out partying, or I'm doing what? No. 4 o'clock in the morning now, I want to be horizontal. Snoring.
Well, I agree. I usually wake up at 6 in the morning, so staying up to 4 or 5 obviously is difficult. So, you know, she made fun of me for a while on that one, but, you know, what are you going to do? When you're tired, you're tired. But I have a couple more fan questions here, which I found interesting, and I will pass them on to you.
Uh-oh.
Now, yeah, I don't think I've ever asked you this, so, and it's kind of it's an interesting question. Have you had people come to you and ask you to make a connection with someone who is not a loved one, someone they just randomly want to make connection with, and were you able to make a connection? Have you had anyone ever come and say, hey, I want to make a connection with somebody famous, or just somebody who was not a loved one, had no connection in, you know, our life with them? And
I have had that happen to me at one point, at a couple of points in time, actually. And it's always so much better if you've got that energetic connection with someone, if you've had that third dimension connection with them, like it's a loved one that you've interacted with here on the planet. I believe that when we do any sort of connecting work like that, it's the combined energies that create the results. It's the hope of the person that comes to me as a client that wants to interact with their loved one, coupled with my desire to help my client, and my abilities as a psychic and a medium, and then the spirit comes in and completes that circle of energy. So the short answer to your question is yes. I have had a lady come to me once and ask me to reach out and communicate with Jim Morrison from The Doors, and I asked her if she had known him, but she said no. She just had always loved him and just wanted to talk to him in spirit. And we didn't get a lot, because she just didn't have a bond with him. She didn't have a connection with him. And, you know, he may have been in spirit going, I don't know why this woman's wanting to talk to me, because, you know, I don't really know her. So people ask me all the time, have I reached out to people like, you know, Abraham Lincoln, Marilyn Monroe, you know, I don't know, Kennedys. I've had some Kennedys come through. I've had John Lennon come through to me. I've had Marilyn Monroe come through to me. I've had celebrities every now and then when I've been out at a location where they may have been, that I felt their energy, and they've given me little blips of information. But, you know, I typically don't want anybody to come to me to ask me just because they're kind of like a fan of somebody or whatever. I really don't. I don't find a lot of merit in doing those readings. I don't know that there's that there's a real purpose in doing those readings other than curiosity to communicate with somebody who's kind of famous and cool.
Now, when you see or get something, do you actually physically see the spirit, or do you? People are asking how the information is transmitted to you. Do you see it through their eyes, or do you see them, or is it just something you get? Well, if you can try to explain it for the listeners.
That's kind of the hardest thing that I can try to explain. Sometimes I wish that people could experience what I experience, and sometimes it's kind of like an afterthought. It doesn't feel like it belongs to me. It feels like it's coming from an external source. It's just kind of there. Typically, I don't see the spirit, although I have seen full-body apparitions a number of times. It's not like it is on television, on TV shows, or in the movies where, that spirit is standing there talking to you, like on, Ghost Whisperer or on Medium or any one of those shows. That's very Hollywood. And I don't see things like that all the time. It's not like they're standing there chatting me up. I get a feeling. It might be a feeling, or I might get like an image in my head, or a short little video, or parts of a song, or parts of a quote from a book, or a quote from a movie. I think that spirit sends through the energy or the information however they can get it to me, the medium, or any other person that they're sending it to. However they're able to push that through to kind of bridge that gap between the two worlds, I think that's how they do it. However they can manage to get that information through, that's how they do it. And lots of times with me, it's just a sense or a feeling of something. And sometimes it's specific words or specific phrases that just kind of are there in my head. And the interesting thing about it is, Rob, is that almost as soon as I've done a reading, it's gone. People will say, do you remember when you said, and lots of times unless they remind me, I don't usually remember it because I don't want to retain that stuff. Once I've delivered the message, my job is done. It's sort of through me, not for me. That information is channeled through me, but it's not for me. So once I've delivered that message, I don't have a need for it anymore. It doesn't belong to me. So if people ask me to remember parts of their readings, I don't. And when my clients I do a lot of private phone readings. That's interesting that not a lot of people are aware of the fact that I do offer private phone readings. You can call me and get a reading from anywhere around the world. I'll do a private phone reading for you. And lots of clients will call me, back after a month or a few months rather, or a year or whatever, and say, well, do you remember when you told me? And no, I don't. I don't keep notes on my clients. I look at every reading as a brand new reading, and unless they remind me of things, most of the time I have no recollection of what we've talked about if I've spoken to a client before at all. Pardon me, all of a sudden I've got a little cough going.
No, I actually had a cough prior to talking, and my biggest this whole interview was going into a coughing fit, and I've been good. So I guess you broke the mold with that. Now I'm gonna start coughing.
I did. So all of a sudden, I'm probably empathing you.
Right. Now I'm done for the rest of the night. So and I want to cough
right
now too.
I'm sending it back to you.
Well, I'll send it back to you afterwards.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
What we should do is send both of our coughs to Niki. Then neither of us will have them, and she'll have a double.
No, I fell yesterday. I can't handle that. I'm literally black and blue completely on one side, and I feel like I've been hit by a truck. Please don't send me a cough on top of it. I just might die.
Well, here's the deal. It sounds like you and Rob Szarek are really clumsy people. Just saying.
I know. It must be a live paranormal thing.
You stole my thunder. I was just getting ready to say we have a lot of clumsy people here at LiveParanormal.com. We all have equilibrium issues.
When I fell, the first thing I said was, "Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't break my hip because I'm going to get so much crap from Rob."
I don't want I'm 61 friggin' years old in a couple of weeks, and like 6 weeks. I don't need to break a hip, so you bitches stay away from me with your energy.
Don't worry, we'll keep it. We'll keep all this clumsy
I'm like pushing the mojo back through the phone at you.
Oh no!
I don't know. It's once you've been robbed, it's something you.
This is Robstradamus, by the way. He's got all these his visions for the future. It's pretty interesting. You'll have to enlighten him sometime.
Once you've been robbed, can I say once you've been chipped?
There you go.
You can.
Gosh, I don't have a name that fits in here. Once you've been nickied, it doesn't work.
Nicked.
Chipped and robbed. Nicked.
Once you've been nicked.
We are all like, oh wow, we're special.
We are.
Great. Well, if all else fails, at least we now have new trademarks for ourselves after this segment. So.
I love it.
But yeah, if people want to get a reading, they would go to chipcoffey.com, correct? And
practically everything that you would need to learn about me on the internet, you can kind of find as a jumping off point from my website at chipcoffey.com. Like I said, it's got links to the events that I'm doing, links about private readings. It talks about all the stuff that I'm up to. You know, gives you a link where you can look at me on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr, which is my blog, and Instagram. I mean, I'm pretty active on social media, and I do interact with fans as often as I can on social media. And it also, my coffee shop is there. Like I said, we sell scarves and books and photographs and coffee. I've got some Chip Coffey coffees, and there's just some fun little things. It's not a whole lot of products because I didn't want to like overwhelm my fans with a lot of different products, but there's probably 20 or so different products on my website that are just fun things that people can order. And people that don't know, I always wear a scarf. I mean, I don't wear a scarf to bed, and I don't wear a scarf to shower and take a bath. I don't, people have asked me that question. I thought that was kind of a weird question. Do you wear a scarf in the shower? No. I'm not that strange. I'm strange, but I'm not effing strange. I don't wear a scarf sometimes if it's really kind of hot or whatever, but if I'm out in public and my fans expect me to be wearing a scarf, like now I don't have a scarf on. I've got a pair of sleep pants and a T-shirt. But what they need to know is, are there scarves around? Yeah, I could reach out and right here in my office there's probably 50 scarves. People ask me how many I own. I own probably, I think at last count it's between 400 and 500 scarves. Yeah. So my cousin Kenny, who lives here with me, he's like, do not buy any more frickin' scarves. No more scarves, please. They're like overtaking the house.
So it's not really an original idea to bring you a scarf as a gift.
It's not particularly, unless it's like people want to knit me scarves and they want to make me scarves and things like that. And I'm very grateful for that, but unless it's a really, really like interesting, cool, or unique sort of a scarf, I'm probably it might get worn once or twice. If I wore every scarf I've got, I would make it through a year and still have scarves left. So, although I'm very grateful, it's a very sweet gesture, but not necessary. Thank you very much.
So when did the whole scarf thing come about? I don't know what the proper term, if it would be scarfing or what would be the
scarfing.
Scarfing.
That's a good word. It's really interesting that I always liked in the wintertime, I always liked to wear, a winter muffler, like a scarf for when it was cold. And really the scarf thing came about. I rewatched Paranormal State. The first episode I did, I was actually wearing a winter muffler because it was January in Pennsylvania when we shot this episode of Paranormal State. So on the very first episode, I was wearing a scarf. And then there's some other episodes I did that first season where I'm not wearing a scarf. But really the scarf thing sort of officially kicked in December of 2007 when Greta, my BFF and my travel assistant, and I went to New York to the premiere party for Paranormal State. And I'd taken a really nice white button-down Oxford cloth shirt and a pair of khakis to wear to the party. And I put it, and I tried it on once we got to New York to see how it was going to look, and it just looked kind of blah. It didn't look there was nothing special about it. And I'm like, I feel like I look drab. I feel like I look, plain. And I hadn't brought a blazer with me or anything like that to wear, so it just looked just kind of yuck. I didn't feel like it was dressy enough. So that afternoon, it was Greta's very first trip to New York City. And I went and took her for a little jaunt on the Staten Island Ferry. And we went across the ferry on the ferry, and we shot some pictures of the Statue of Liberty and came back across. And when we got off, there was a little shop there in the ferry terminal, and they were selling souvenirs and things like that, and they had scarves there. And they had this beautiful burgundy print scarf that was there that was gorgeous. And I looked at it, and I said to Greta, you know what, I think I'm going to buy this scarf, and I'm going to wear it tonight. And I bought the scarf and took it back, and when I got dressed that night, it dressed up the outfit beautifully that I had on. It was just that little accessory that was kind of cool, and everybody admired it. So that kind of started me wearing scarves, and since then it's kind of become an addiction that I probably need to go to a 12-step program for.
Well, thank goodness then that episode of you didn't wear like earmuffs or something, because that would be kind of a weird thing to be wearing around all over.
Well, you know what else I've kind of gotten into that's kind of strange is socks. Really cool socks. I love really cool socks.
According to GQ, that's in this summer.
Is it?
So, it is.
I've probably got 100 pairs of really cool socks. People found out that I like socks, and all of a sudden it was like people were buying them for me for my birthday or buying them for me for Christmas. And I have a bin in my laundry room, and I would say that bin is overflowing now with. I still have socks in there that I have never, ever, ever worn. So I should have a yard sale at my house or an online yard sale, and just sell some of my scarves and my socks. Is what I should do.
You should.
I should.
I have single socks.
I have a lot of single socks too.
Yeah, I have lots of those. No mattress.
That's where you can make a quick buck, is selling your single socks. And the ones that they disappear in a dryer or wash or whatever, and you can't find a match for them, then just sign them and throw them on the internet. $10.
There you go.
It's crazy.
We just made you a lot of money.
You probably did. I'm sure. I never will forget at one point in time, it was so funny. People will buy anything at a yard sale or at a tag sale, a garage sale, whatever word you want to use. And I remember at one point in time when my dad was still living, rest his soul, that we were having a yard sale, and I brought out a lot of clothes, and part of the things I brought out were socks and underwear. And my dad said, you're not going to put those out in a yard sale. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I don't need them anymore. And he's like, nobody's going to buy your socks and your underwear. I swear to God, the first thing, and it surprised me and my dad, the very first things that sold at this yard sale were my underwear and my socks. I don't know if that was kind of like a weird thing or not, but the first thing that sold at the yard sale was underwear and socks. This was a long time before I ever did any television, let me just put it to you this way. So people weren't buying them in like a creeper stalker kind of way. But socks and underwear were the first things to sell before old dishware and stuff like that. But socks and underwear, my dad was like, I never would have thought those things would have sold. And I'm like, well, I guess you were wrong.
Somebody needed them.
What? Yeah,
there you go.
It's still kind of unbelievable. But bring your socks to the Paranormal Supercon, and I might buy a couple. Get you a quick sale right there.
Niki, I can't imagine buying someone's used underwear.
I really couldn't either. Yeah, even I guess some people, you can buy. We get lots of celebrity stuff on eBay, and some of that stuff I can't wrap my head around in the first place. Why I wouldn't want my own. Like, why do people like it? I don't get it. And I don't get buying
somebody's used underwear. I don't.
Yeah, no.
That to me is
not
just
really
like
for me.
That kind of makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. That's gross.
and you know what? This might not be the nicest thing to say, but you know what? Free ball. I mean, seriously, if it comes down to that, you go without. I'm sorry, I feel much better going without than to wear some stranger's underwear, personally.
I would rather go Free Willy than do that. It's kind of like
yeah.
People use the term commando. I prefer the term Free Willy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Free Willy.
I can't think of a better way to wrap up the segment than talking about
Free Willy
or Free Willy. That makes wonderful closing. But we definitely appreciate having you on. It's always nice to talk to you. And again, ParanormalSuperCon.com coming up July 24th and 25th. And for all of your Chip Coffey needs, go to ChipCoffey.com. And I will talk to you soon and see you soon.
Yes, you will, both of you, my loves. And thank you for having me on the show tonight. And just about 2.5 weeks, we'll be hanging out together in Erie. Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you.
You guys have fun, be safe, and I will talk at you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night, guys.
Thank you for joining us for Live Paranormal Radio. From the paranormal to the unexplained, it all happens here. It all happens here. Looking to enhance your radio experience? Participate in our live video chat 24/7 with our Live Paranormal Radio show hosts and other like-minded people. LiveParanormal.com, the only interactive social chat room supported by Full Interaction Media. Stop by now and join the fun.